The difference between a job and a business starts with having systems, right? Systems that create predictable outcome, ensure excellence, right? So create a system is something that you can delegate to team members, right? So you can give them, here's our process, here's our procedures, here's our script. This is what we do. This is how we do it. This is when we do it. This is where we do it. This is what we say when we're doing it.
Hello and welcome to the Remarkable CEO Podcast, a show dedicated to chiropractors who want to transform their job into a business so that they can have a remarkable practice as part of a remarkable life, not instead of one. With your hosts, Dr. Pete Camiolo and Dr. Stephen Franson.
Welcome to another episode of the Remarkable CEO Podcast, chiropractic's #1 business podcast. I'm Dr. Pete Camiolo.
And I'm Dr. Stephen Franson.
And many people will ask, why would you leave a 1,000-week practice? And the answer is very simple for us, because we want to make a bigger impact. And we're on a mission to serve 1 million patient visits a week, and we're on our way. And we're grateful for you listening and tuning into our podcast, because we know that together we go farther. 1 + 1 = 11. We know that we have a big mission, an assignment as a profession of chiropractic, and we're honored to serve you. And thank you for tuning in and being a part of our podcast. Every week, we release an episode. We've done that for 7+ years without missing a Tuesday. And we're grateful for our awesome team who helps us do that. And for all of you who listen, if you're new to the show, welcome. It's great to be together today. Thank you for tuning in. I think you're going to like what you're going to hear. And go back and pick up a couple episodes. There's some really good stuff that we've laid down over the last 7 years. And if you're a regular listener, hey, welcome back. Great to have you with us today. Grateful to get to spend some time. And today we're going to talk about fitness. We started a series a few episodes ago, and we've been dripping it out over the last few weeks. So if you're just tuning in now, there's a series that we did starting with core values, and then we went into creating fitness around the areas of marketing. And today we're going to jump in, Dr. Stephen, to another area of fitness, and that's the operational fitness conversation. And I can't think of a better person to co-host this with than you. Good to be together today.
Yeah, man. Great to be home. Great to be back in the studio, Dr. Pete. Yeah, like you said, been on the road. Got to get almost a couple weeks off there, 12 days off to Italy with my family, my wife and my kids, my adult children, I should say. Man, raise the adults you want to hang around with. That was such a great plan. That was such a great philosophy. I'm just hopefully going to bless people with that. It's like, raise the adults that you want to hang around with. God gives us children. We're not supposed to raise children. He gives you children. Raise the adults you want to hang around with. So just had the opportunity to do that. There was about 70 of us went over to Italy with the UAC, the Ultimate Achievers Club, and about 30 of them were the kids and the children, which was just so awesome. And having all of them hanging around together. They're a lot more fun now when they're 22, 21, 20, 19, that whole crew, and that's a blast. Man, what a blessing to be able to travel like that. And spend time with your wife, spend time with, all your friends who happen to be chiropractors. What a blessing that is. That's like your best friends in the world are all chiropractors and business owners. And, you can quote unquote go on a business trip, and it's like that. So, we were in Tuscany, Florence, and Sardinia. It's just such beautiful places. So if anybody's looking for a beautiful corner of the world, that's one of the blue zones. It's the iconic blue zone, Sardinia. Man, I highly recommend it. And bring your kids. I hope you want to hang out with your kids. And I hope your kids want to hang out with you, probably more importantly.
Yes.
So yeah, psyched for this conversation, Dr. Pete. Operational fitness, part of a bigger conversation, right, around business and practice fitness. I'm going to say that again, business and practice fitness, right? So of course the business versus the practice. The practice is the clinical entity, right, that exists to deliver healthcare and better health experiences and health outcomes for the patients. And the business is the economic engine that exists to deliver revenue and profit for the owners, the investors, and for the team, right? So these are two different conversations, but we're talking about operational fitness today, very specifically under the practice, right? So we start talking about practice, you're talking about operations, we're talking about the business, we're talking about economics, right? So under the practice, operations, we've got attraction, conversion, we've got retention, we've got team building, and we've got collections, right? Those are your operational systems, all part of the chiropractic operational system, right? So COS, the chiropractic operating system that we brought to market, right? So to organize this conversation, man, I'm excited to get after it because it is all about operational fitness.
Yeah. And Doc, you and I, we walk with a little bit of a limp here because we were gifted and talented in our industry. And so we were able to be successful. What I love about a system, Doc, is that it's not just reliant upon one person or just your talent, but it's operational fitness implies that this is bigger and beyond, goes beyond you and your talent. It's saying we need a system to be able to have a remarkable business. A remarkable practice is really built around that construct of, you can't ultimately build that remarkable practice and if it's all dependent on you. And so we're going to build it around a system, and the operational system organized around the 5 domains, 15 primary functions. So there are these 5 core systems that we're going to look at today in your business. We encourage you to do this. This is actually just to see the upcoming immersions. We've got 2 immersions coming up. One here in the North American continent in Maryland, right across from DC and National Harbor, coming up in October. And if you haven't registered for that, we'll definitely add a link to this episode so you can check out and learn more about it. We'd love to have you join us. It'll be every event that we do, Dr. Stephen, I'll say this, is better than the last one. So It will be our best event. I can say that because every time we leave an event, I'm always like, that was our best event we've ever done.
Yes. Yeah.
We just keep getting better. Our team gets better. You as attendees get better. People show up more ready to learn and grow, and you'll be implementing afterwards. And we'll be in Australia as well a couple weeks after that. So you can see all of the events on our website. We'll put the links here as well in the show notes. But Dr. Stephen, we're going to go deep for 2.5 days at the immersions into all these systems. But we're gonna prime that conversation here today. If you're new to the podcast, then this may be new language to you. If you've been around, you understand the difference between the 2 sides of the coin, the business side and the practice side. Today, we're really looking at the practice side of the coin, the operational side. We're going to lean into that today, going through the systems. And ultimately, we want you to put this up against where your practice is at right now. We'll say a few things about each one, Dr. Stephen, and we just want you to look at that and reflect where you're at, how systematized and organized and are your processes and your procedures and your scripting, how built is your business around a strong system, and how much of it is built on you, right? We talk about the difference between being an owner, operator, and a CEO, turning that job into a business, going from labor to leader, and it really requires an ascension. So we're going to get into some of that today, Dr. Stephen. I'm really looking forward to this conversation. This is something that we sing a song about every single day with our clients who we serve. So this is where we want to be, because this is where most of you want to be. If you're joining us today, this is where you need to be.
That's right. So as we talk about that ascension, as we talk about going from a job to a business, right? So what's the difference between a job and a business, right? You hear us talk about something that is scalable and durable and transferable, and all of those things are true. Those are descriptors of the difference between a job and a business. Businesses are scalable, they're durable, they're transferable. But what makes that possible is systems and people, right? Mm-hmm. Systems and teams. So you've heard us use the expression operationalize, then professionalize, then optimize, right? So when we say operationalize, we're talking about your systems, right? So you have systems, which is your process and your procedures and your scripting, right? It's your day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4 conversion system, right? It's your week 1, week 2, week 3, week 4, month 1, month 2, month 3, month 4, year 1, year 2, year 3, year 4, process, procedure, and scripting, your systems of retention, right? So these are all your systems. These are your operations. Sometimes you'll hear it called SOP, or standard operating procedure, right? So all of these things are your operations or your systems, right? So the difference between a job and a business starts with having systems, right? Systems that create predictable outcome, ensure excellence, right? So create a system is something that you can delegate to team members, right? So you can give them, here's our process, here's our procedures, here's our script. This is what we do. This is how we do it. This is when we do it. This is where we do it. This is what we say when we're doing it. Those are all your SOPs. That's your standard operating procedures. And you can't delegate something that's not systematized, right? So Dr. Pete, this makes all the difference in the world. You know, my moniker in the chiropractic space is I'm the systems guy, only because I wanted to make sure that we had consistent and scalable, predictable, positive outcomes. If you're committed to excellence in your delivery and your outcomes, you need systems.
So for all of you who are listening, who are the CEO, your job is to get the systems right. That's actually underneath if you talk about what you're accountable for as the CEO, the visionary, there's a few things that you're accountable for. This would fall underneath that. Like, one is casting vision. Another one is leading the team. Another one is determining what's important now, what's important next, and what's important ultimately, to be able to focus the team. And this would be an area of focus, right? Because anytime you lack a system, you lack focus. People are trying to memory manage it. It's going to take you 10 times longer than it needs to. It's not reproducible. It's not predictable. It's not scalable or durable or transferable. So therefore, you are accountable for that. That's what's important now. So if you're listening to this and you're like, you know what? We have systems. I always say there's a few different versions of systems. You have one state is we don't have a system for that. That could be a category. Like, we don't have a system for that. I'll give you an example. A new patient orientation class called the Better Results Faster Workshop. Do you guys do that? No, we don't do that. Do you have a system for that? Clearly not. We don't even do it. Okay, so there's no system for that. That would be a process that we have, that a patient goes through in the patient journey, called a new patient orientation, Better Results Faster Workshop, that drives greater results for the patient, greater retention for the patient, more revenue for the business, more referrals for the business, and better results for the patient. Probably a pretty good idea to do something like that, right? It'd be good to do something that drives those 5 things. So you either don't have a system for it, or we have a system, Dr. P. We've been doing the BRF for years, but it's kind of stale or flat. We haven't really trained on it in a really long time. We haven't really even looked at it. We've just been doing what we've always been doing. Guess what that is? That is a system that's in place that's not optimized. We need to relook at that, take that thing out, dust it off, take a really good look at the entire process from soup to nuts. Is it optimized? And the answer is going to be no. There's 4 gaps. There's multiple constraints. It's underperforming because it hasn't been worked on. It's an engine that needs to get worked on. So that's another option. Or we have a system, it's in place, but we're just not following it. So you get a system that works. Maybe you work with TRP. You're like, yeah, we got the system. They've showed us what to do, but we're not following it. Yeah, that's an issue with systems, Dr. Stephen. And so you find yourself in some of these camps, right? We either don't have a system for it, we have a system, but it's outdated. We have a system we're not following, or we have the system and we don't have people that are actually capable.
They're not proficient
delivering it because they're not proficient. So we got a training deficiency and we need to work on that. So wherever you find yourself in that story, that narrative, if you look at the entire arc of the patient journey, you look at the entire arc of the business from attraction to conversion to retention, developing your team and collections, you look at those domains and functions, there's a system for every one of those things in what we call the chiropractic operating system inside of the remarkable practice, inside of the remarkable business. So your job as a CEO, back to my point, is to make sure we get that right. That's your job. And Dr. Stephen, we're always looking at this. You're always reevaluating it. It's why we build this into your quarterly cadence in terms of your quarterly audit, using the accountability grid as a way to systematize and organize the audit of your business, to ask the questions fundamentally, is this function in our business after this past quarter optimized or not? Based on what the data says, not based on how I feel, right? And we know that every challenge in your practice can usually be traced back to one of those systems. So if you're having challenges, if you have constraints, we did a great series on constraints, go back into these systems as a way to organize your investigation and identify where the constraint is and to deploy where you need to focus moving forward.
I love that we use the term fitness in this conversation, right? So if you think about it, guys, it's like, when it comes to fitness, this is a lifelong journey, right? Like, you don't get in shape. You don't arrive and then say, good, I don't need to do that anymore, right? Like, I'm working out 5 days a week. It's an hour of my day. I have to think about like my diet style and my sleep patterns, right? It's like, I got a time block to make sure, and then I got my commute and like all of those things that go into really a commitment to being fit, right? So when you talk about fitness, you don't arrive and get to the point where you're like, okay, good, now I'm there. So that's going to free me up. I'm not going to have to work out anymore. I don't have to exercise anymore. It's just like, no, this is going to be constant. You have to train and work out to arrive at fitness, to achieve fitness, but then you have to constantly maintain your fitness or improve your fitness. It never stops. It's always that movement, that exercise, that exertion is always part of a fitness lifestyle, right? So operational fitness says the same thing. You don't just Okay, we have systems in place. We trained on it. We get good at it. All right, everybody's onboarded. Okay, so now we can shift our attention elsewhere, right? So onboarding, or that initial training that happens with a team member, that's about competency, right? So ongoing training is about mastery, right? So onboarding is about competency. Ongoing training is about mastery. So to your point, this is a fitness question. It's like, you might have a system, but are you using it? Is it an outdated system? Is everybody proficient in the system? Are we continuing to train? Have we mastered the system where it's into our nervous system? Fitness is the exact right word when it comes to your business, when it comes to your practice, and making sure, especially, you have your operational fitness set. So we talked about this 3 hats concept, right? So when you're a chiropractor, you get an opportunity to wear one of 3 hats, or at any given time, you're wearing one of 3 hats. The first one you get is in school, right? So you put on your doctor hat, right? You learn how to be a chiropractor, right? So this is the doctoring stuff. They teach you about how to do consultation and examination, and how to do report of findings and recommendations for care, right? So of course, how to do an analysis and how to do corrective care, how to adjust, right? So the art of being a doctor, right? So this is you being the chiropractor, right? So that's your DC hat. And then you get into practice and you realize, okay, so that's one skill set, but it really doesn't prepare me for how to run a practice, right? So the operations of the practice is where you have to become an operator. You have to understand, it's like, oh, wait a minute, there's attraction, conversion, retention, team building, and collections. Those are all the growth engines of the practice. Those are the operations of the practice. You need to learn how to become an operator. That's a totally different identity, and it's a totally different skill set. It's a different hat. So now you got a doctor hat that you got to wear when you're doing the doctoring, and you've got the operator hat on when you're doing your operations, right? So the third hat is the hat that we're just coming out of this conversation around, the business hat. It's like, then there's a third hat and you realize, well, wait a minute, I don't know how to run or grow a business, right? So it's like, that's where now you're a business builder, and you've got to understand, what do you need to know how to run the business, the economics side of it, when you're talking about marketing and sales and delivery and people and money, right? So that's the third hat, which is a different identity, being a business owner, right? And it's a different skill set. And you don't want to have your business hat on when you should have a doctor hat on, and you don't want to have a doctor hat on when you should have your business hat on, right? So today we're focused on the operations, right? So we're having the operator hat on, firmly affixed. And Dr. V, when we talk about operations, we're talking about your SOP, we're talking about your systems, and we identify these as the process, the procedures, and the scripting. Now, we use these words intentionally, right? So process is what the patients experience, what they see, hear, and feel, right? That's the process. The procedure is everything that's invisible to the process and supports the process, right? So let me give you an example. How to start a file in the EHR, how to set up the X-ray unit to take an X-ray. It's like all this procedure that has to happen that doesn't really involve the patient. It's invisible to the patient, but it supports the process. And then finally, there's scripting. And scripting is, this is what we say while we're doing our process with the patient, right? So it's so critical that we understand the value of, you want to train on this so it becomes your nature. It gets into your nervous system. So it feels natural. Some people just are so averse to scripting. I'm a pretty decent communicator. I fought scripting, but what I recognize is, actually, but at the end of the day, I was scripted. It's just that my scripts sucked and they were unpredictable and they weren't leading to the outcomes I wanted. So finally I just embraced it. I'm like, hey, I got an idea. Let's script this whole thing out so that we have a predictable process, because the patients are going to show up with all the variables. So I don't want to show up with variables. I want to show up with a team that knows a process, procedure, and scripting, so that we have it baked into our nervous system, so we have consistent, predictable outcomes. Then we can deal with any of the variables that the patients show up with.
Yeah, Doc, you said something earlier right before we started recording today that I just wanted to reiterate now, because you're talking about scripting. And, I teach a lot, coach and train a lot on scripting and how to articulate, communicate a message to a patient, and at all stages, right? So I found there's actually 3 camps. And this is not a training on scripting, but it's something I want to speak about. One is, you have the unscripted, what I call subscripted, which is, every time you do let's say at day 1, you kind of just, you do what you feel like doing. You kind of have things you like to say, but it's so random and inconsistent. It's just, you're unscripted. That'd be a way to say it. I am unscripted, and you know it. I don't have a script. I have things that I say. I have a few things that I'll say pretty regularly, but generally it's something new every time. That's unscripted. Then you have the second level and that's unpredictable. And and that kind of leads to unpredictable results and outcomes. That's number one. Number two is scripted, which is I'm focused on the script. I'm getting the words right and I'm in my head. And what I found, Dr. Stephen, in working with doctors is a lot of them toggle between being unscripted and kind of winging it and then scripted. And a lot of doctors will kind of struggle somewhere between those two. Like I'm pretty scripted, but then I kind of revert back to this just random, kind of going with my gut and off the cuff. And they live in this world and it leads to unpredictable results. You're not getting the kind of outcomes that you want to get. And it's really hard to train anybody else to be able to do it. The reason why a lot of doctors never make it through stage 2, which is being scripted, is because they don't realize there's a stage 3. And the stage 3 is where everybody wants to be. It's where you all should be, which is what I call super scripted. So you have unscripted, scripted, and super scripted, which is that I know the script so well that I'm not even thinking about it. It's just like driving a car and I don't think about, where's the thing I do? Oh, I push this down when I want the blinker to turn left. It's like, you know how to do the thing. And so now you're a great driver. And now there's levels of driving, especially I learned that when I did the Porsche experience. It's like, I was a pretty good driver. Real quick, I learned like, you're amateur, bro. You're so amateur. Anyway, I digress. The point is, you talk about process, procedure, scripting. A lot of people get hung up on the scripting. And I'm telling them, my friend, there is freedom on the other side. Once you get so scripted, you become super scripted. And that's when the authentic Pete Camiolo enters into the room. He's so scripted, he's on script, but he's even above it. He added in himself, integrated it in. You're out of your head. Here's the thing. You're out of your head and you're in your heart. And when you're in your heart, you can make connections at a level with humanity that few people are ever able to experience with the doctor or anyone on the team. And that's where the magic happens. That's 100%. Where it gets good, right? So Dr. Stephen, I just want to say that as that wasn't even a part of this episode, but I'm just dropping that in there.
Dr. Beet, it's so critically important because I know that we're kind of putting our finger in a bullet wound right now with a lot of people. It's like they've been fighting scripting. It's like there's something called the 4 stages of competency, which as you were speaking is like, oh yeah, that's exactly what he's talking about. It's like there are 4 stages of competency whenever you are learning a skill set, right? So it's just like the first stage is subconscious incompetence, which is where you don't even know you suck.
Yeah.
To the next stage where is conscious incompetence, where at least you know you suck, right? And then you get better and you go to the next stage, and that's conscious competency, which you don't suck anymore, but you have to think about it to not suck. To make the ascension to subconscious competency, which is where you don't even have to think about it. You're awesome at it, right? So like you said, it's like learning how to drive a stick shift in a car. If you're driving a 5-speed standard, initially you're just like, seizing the car, you're stalling, right? This is like, I'm teaching my daughter right now to drive that Defender, and oh my gosh, what a nightmare. So she's just stalling the thing out. It's jumping all over the place. It's really torquey, She is just terrified of the thing. Finally, now she can do it, and she actually talks out loud as she's doing it. She's like, okay, clutch, and then gas, and then come off the brakes. She's like talking out loud, and I'm sitting next to her freaking out, But now she's like to the point where she's like consciously competent, right? She's pretty good, right? Subconscious competency is when you're flying down the highway and you are just throwing through the gears. You are turning the radio. You're eating a sandwich with one hand, sending a text message, right? Driving around. It's like you are just whipping through you're not even thinking about downshifting and gear shifting, right? So sometimes you don't even need the clutch. You can just go on sound, but didn't even hear it, right? So that's when we need to get with our process, procedure, and scripting guys. You've got to train, so it's part of your nervous system. You've got to get it so fit, so fine-tuned that you are no longer thinking about process, procedure, and scripting. You are present and focused on the human being that God has trusted you with, so you can just be present. And that is that superpower, right? So guys, this is it. It's a step. You've heard the 3-step process, right? So you've heard operationalize, professionalize, and optimize. What we're talking about right now is where optimization lives, right? So operationalize is where you get your systems in place. Professionalize is when you get your people in place, running those systems, trained up and competent, right? So on their way to mastery. And optimized, which is where you're using your data to drive your training so that you can actually optimize your people. Now, Dr. Pete, we've talked about systematize, operationalize, professionalize, and then optimize the three-step process. Well, we were releasing TRP 3.0 in October 1, 2, and 3, first, second, and third in Maryland, right across the river from Washington, D.C., where we're going to be talking about the fourth element, which is automate. So it is operationalize, then professionalize, then optimize, then automate. We're going to be bringing AI automations into the Remarkable Practice System, into the chiropractic operating system. It's TRP 3.0, and we're super stoked to be releasing that to all y'all. If you loved this conversation around operations, absolutely be at the Remarkable Practice Immersion coming up in October 1, 2, 3. And then we're going to go on to Australia, then on to New Zealand to share the same message. So you can learn exactly how to take these operations of attraction, conversion, retention, team building, and collections, and how to infuse AI to make you more productive. In other words, more effective and more efficient, so you can help more people and make more money. Remember, guys, we're in the business of saving lives. And when business is good, everybody wins.
Please stick around for more business insights from this week's bonus interview with our remarkable success partner dedicated to helping you more successfully help more people. Enjoy.
Hello, Remarkable CEOs. This is Dr. Eric DiMartino here. I'm a TRP coach, and I'm excited today to be in studio with Dr. Dan RuitenBeek from Shockwave Centers of America. So welcome to the podcast, Dr. Dan.
Thank you so much for having me.
So please tell the audience a little bit about you and what your business does.
Sure. So I'm a chiropractor, graduate from Life University, and I am now the owner of Shockwave Centers of America. We do everything from build and develop high quality devices. We also support companies who already have devices that need more implementation and business strategy. And that's our role, is to make sure that we can make shockwave therapy available to patients. And we have to do that through great training and support for the providers who are hosting that in their office. So we do a little bit of everything.
Great. For those out there that don't know exactly what Shockwave is, could you take a few minutes to explain exactly what it is and what it does?
Of course, yeah. So Shockwave has been around about 40 years now. It is a very European therapy that's kind of slowly made its way over the pond. But what it is, it's a chronic pain management strategy or a regenerative technology. So the goal is not just pain therapy. Our goal is to recondition joint tissue, muscle tissue, tendons, and ligaments, and make sure that they're healing to the best of the body's ability. And we do that through stimulating cofactors and hormones in the tissue through sound waves, which are gentle and not painful, in order to get the body to respond and say, hey, this is an area that needs attention. We need more blood flow, more collagen, all kinds of stuff that we need to actually heal and repair tissue. And it gives a great opportunity to keep patients in the house without having to offload them to an orthopedist. This is a great place to start before it's an injectable situation or a surgical situation. I can use something that the body can take information from, i.e. those sound waves, and do something biologically important, which would be repair.
And as chiropractors, we know that the body heals itself, right? And so I love that you have a tool that just assists the body with that, right? It supports that process and speeds it up so people can recover faster. That's great.
The goal is to, I like to say Shockwave is the most chiropractically friendly therapy to introduce into practice, because it doesn't take over the message of what we do, as you said. The same goal is in mind, is we are here to support the body in what it does best, which is heal and repair, without going so far to create a new problem. And so it's very safe, very effective for everybody from, young teens all the way up into their 90s. They can do Shockwave, but it adds an element to the practice that we might not have a great solution for, or you might not have time to do. And that would be the extremity issues, osteoarthritis, rotator cuff injury, stuff that our patients all will come to us for, but we don't necessarily have the perfect solution for yet. So Shockwave will fill in that gap for us as best we can.
It's very valuable. And like you said, we don't want to lose consumers to orthopedics or other docs. We want to keep them in-house and give them that chiropractic vitalistic approach whenever possible. That's great.
Exactly. That's the goal.
Yeah. And as all our listeners know, we always talk about, as CEOs, we always want a positive ROI on any services that we utilize in our offices. So how do you guys provide a positive ROI for docs?
Yeah, that's one of the challenges that we find in the marketplace. And one of the reasons that we exist as a company is that Shockwave devices were too expensive to make an ROI from without having to wait many years to do so. So our devices, they're designed to be quick ROI devices. So you're talking anywhere from 7,000 all the way to 25,000 is our range of devices. And reason being is that within 3 to 6 months, 90% of our people have paid off the machines, and everything else is going to be ROI positive from there. The other thing that we don't think about is the long-term portion of the ROIs. Is I'm keeping somebody in the house. I'm not sending them out to an orthopedist, because we know if we get them into their sphere, they might say that chiros are weirdos, and they're going to kick them over to the PTs, and like, you don't need to see the chiro anymore because you're doing this with me and then that with the PT. And so we lose a lot of people that way. This keeps them in the house, shows them that you're there for them and you have a solution for some of these problems. And that'll also add to the ROI portion of things. But my favorite part of it is that for most states, and it's going to see it in all states pretty soon, is that the staff members will be able to run the device for you. And so you can just keep doing chiropractic because you're the only one in the office that can do that, or whatever associates you may have too. But it keeps that part unique, and we can have the staff run the Shockwave for you. And now you're doubling down on your available slots during the day, and you can see more people in that same time frame without having to double your own volume.
Yeah, that's huge, because not only do we want a positive ROI financially, but also on our time, right? And
Yeah.
so it's great that now it can be staff driven. So, or that our doctors, we always talk about leverage, right? To be successful, we have to leverage the best we can through using people, systems, technology. And so when we can leverage our team members to provide this valuable service, it takes a lot of off the doctor's plate. So I'm glad to hear that that's coming down the pipe. That's great.
I was going to say most states are able to do it already. There's just a select few that we'll go through it if somebody's interested in adding it, and make sure that that's something that's legal at the moment, that they can do it. But it's such a big add to the practice, because you don't have to worry about, oh, when can I fit this in around my adjustments? No, they come in if they need it that day. Again, you have a staff member trained or multiple staff members trained in it, and now a staff member who's usually just overhead costs, they're now a value adding part of the practice.
Yeah, it's huge. So, for doctors that maybe have never been exposed to this or don't understand it, I would assume you guys have some sort of training system, help docs implement this, create protocols, even possibly market it. Could you speak to that?
Yeah, arguably more important than the device itself is the implementation part of it. So the education is big. We want everybody who's going to use the device know how to do it properly, of course, but also know how to sell this to your clientele, right? Where does this fit into their care model? Is this something that's a good fit for them or not? And so that's part of our day one training, and we have access to a huge library of training videos as well that they can access at any time. We have a CA specific training. It's a 4-hour course that they can take and get certified through Shockwave Centers of America. So you don't have to take that on yourself as the provider. Providers can take the course too if they're totally fresh and new into the world of Shockwave. It's a great place to start and understand the fundamentals and how this works and how to implement it. And then we're there. We also have a Facebook group, just like you guys do, for all of our providers who have clinical questions. Like, hey, I have a case that's not responding the way I would like to. You have the collective brain of over 1,500 other offices that are using Shockwave that could jump in and say, hey, have you tried X, Y, or Z? Because I've been doing this 18 years in the world of Shockwave, but still I haven't seen everything under the sun. And so we may as well leverage all the other people using the therapy and be able to help our people as most we can.
Great. It's great to have that company support from you guys, but also the peer support where you got, colleagues can get together and brainstorm on better ways to use the technology. So that's great. So
Absolutely.
yeah, so there's a lot of services out there, kind of like what you guys do. So why should the listeners choose your company over all the others?
I would say education is the biggest part, is because the more you understand the therapy, the better you're going to be able to use this in your practice and leverage it as a tool. I teach CE courses, so you're learning from people who do this for a living now. I just recently left my own private practice, and I do Shockwave 100% of the time. And so being able to bounce ideas back and forth, use our technology that we have, as well as our care plan design and our protocols, those are the IP part of it. Because Shockwave works regardless of what company you get it from. And we support a ton of people who have other devices too, because they don't get that support that they need from those manufacturers. So we started as a support group first, or as a consultant firm first. So you get that element of it. And then we added devices to help support what we're trying to achieve, which is affordable and manageable shockwave therapy within the chiropractic clinic.
Great. Yeah, need that support. So I'm sure a lot of listeners now are interested, they're intrigued. What is the best next step for our listeners to connect with you guys and learn more about how you can help them?
The discovery call is the most important because not every office is fit for Shockwave yet, potentially. And the type of device that you go with is going to mean a lot. And so we have to make sure we know what kind of practice we're dealing with before we recommend a type of device. And if you have the staff in place and if you have the systems in place, which is why, your clients are really great suit for us because we usually already come with systems and we're just implanting Shockwave into those systems. Some clients that come to us, they have no idea what they're doing. We have to start from scratch and be like, okay, cool. Before we even put a device in there, who's going to be managing it? Do you have the paperwork already? Do we need paperwork? All that kind of fun stuff. So the discovery call is really important. It's 20 minutes of just back and forth, understanding the practice and seeing where Shockwave may fit for them. And then we'll make a recommendation from there moving forward.
And how would they get that discovery call set up?
Straight from shockwavecenters.com, or they can direct email me. Dr. Dan at shockwavecenters.com is an easy one as well.
Perfect. So listeners out there, if you're interested in being able to expand your ability to help people and also drive more profit to your business, I would suggest reaching out to Dr. Dan and his team and seeing if it's a good fit for you. So I want to thank you, Dr. Dan, for being on here with us. I want to thank you for being a success partner with Remarkable Practice. You help us further our mission of helping our docs help more people. And for all you CEOs out there, make sure you tune in each week. Every Tuesday, a new episode drops. And I hope you all have a blessed week, and we'll see everyone next week. Take care, Dr. Dan.
Thanks for listening to this episode of the Remarkable CEO Podcast. If you like this podcast, please subscribe, share with a friend, and leave us a review. And if you'd like to connect with us personally, direct message us on Facebook, LinkedIn, or Instagram. Remember, what the world needs now is chiropractic, and what chiropractic needs now is more successful chiropractors.